Today on Jeff Does What, we got something new for y'all. So what we have here is the Ikier K1pro Max, 48 watts of power. And we got this nice collapsible enclosure that can be taken apart and put back together with ease. Be sure to stick around to watch more of what we have come up in us building this and putting this together and doing some laser engraving jobs. So as we unbox this Ikier K1pro Max, we have a lot going on this video. This is a big laser that is capable of quite a lot. Now, like I said, when it comes to power of diode lasers, Ikier is one of the strongest players on the market, putting out some of the biggest diode lasers you can find. For instance, right here, this one we have is their 48 watt laser. And they do have some that are even bigger than this. Now for diode lasers, that is huge. And as we're getting everything out, like I said, this laser right here is fairly simple, straightforward as putting it together. Like I said, the main frame is already together where we're not sitting here have to adjust any belt tensions or anything like that. Everything's ready to go. Everything's lined up. All we got to do is bolt this on right up here and a few little small pieces here and there. And it's real simple. Let me get the rest of this out of the box and come right back at y'all. Now, as far as setting this thing up, it was a breeze to get this machine out of the box and all together. We had a total of 8 screws on this, and they were all on this crossbar right here. Everything else just plugs in, like I said, and we got a handful of plugs. We got our air pump. Now check out the size of this air pump they sent with this machine. It's got some nice good weight to it. And what I like, it doesn't have a separate power supply. It's actually integrated into the machine, which should help with light burn. We'll find out that here in just a little bit. Because anything that I can turn on and off air and light burn is a big plus, and that way I can regulate it if possible on there. But we're not going to stop here. We have a whole nother box from them. Let's get it unboxed as well. Now this second box, what we have is a collapsible enclosure. So this thing all comes apart, it velcros together, and that way we can have a nice, good, sealed up unit to help protect us from all the smoke and fumes that laser engraving produces. Now with this enclosure, we also have a fan to help duct all the exhaust out. With that fan, we have ducting to duct it outside of the shop as well. So, and also if you have something to duct this into before it goes directly outside, that can help, say like a box full of charcoal or filters, anything to help pull whatever contaminants out in there. That way you're not just blowing it straight outside, because there's no telling what there is outside. That is something I'm working on soon on upgrading on my other lasers as well. That way I'm not just straight dumping smoke or fumes outside. So whatever could be out there could be harming them, because anything we can help do to protect the environment outside, the better. Now we got this great looking enclosure on here. Still missing one more thing, and that's something to cut on. So what we got here is one last box, and we have our bedding, our honeycomb rail. It's not technically honeycomb, but we got this put together, and we'll be all set up, ready to rock and roll. Now, after roughly about 5 minutes, the longest thing on this laser to get set up is this right here. Like I said, it is also expandable, where you can actually, it has little rails where you can actually connect more of these to make this longer as well. Something real nice. And I like the way these are compared to your traditional honeycomb. So that way, as you are cutting stuff on here, there's less underneath. That way you have less deflection of what the laser coming up. Because like I said, it's able to burn straight through, where all we have is lots of points. But let's get this cover back off and learn a little bit more about this machine. Now, as we have this Ikier 48 watt K1 Pro Max, there's actually a few different options on here to show you about. Now, as we come to the side of the unit, we actually have a little switch where we can go from 24 watts to 48 watts. Not to mention, we have the nice touchscreen. Granted, we have no USB in there right now, but there's a few different modes. We got our fast mode, standard, our fine modes. We got our tilt detection, flame detection. And then if you look at that top, we have an autofocus. Now, that's something I'm really liking to see. And then, of course, we just got our about section that I can't hit with my finger. Now, as we come off in the light burn, I have set up one of my micros, and we'll tell autofocus. And as you look right there, it is adjusting right now to see where we need to focus this. So to start things off right now, I know I don't have the enclosure on here. I'm just wanting to show y'all what this machine's doing. Right now we have this running at the 48 watts, and we're just doing a simple wooden little patch that I use on from hats time to time. Why don't y'all come check this out. As you see, that speed is really rocking on this. Now we do have this at 350 millimeters per second, and the power is at 60%. And this thing is just rocking and rolling, flying along on this. And to be honest, like I said, this is actually outpacing my omtech CO2 right now, due to the fact I'm able to go left and right with this compared to my CO2 right now, which I cannot for the life of me figure out what is going on with it, but I cannot run it bi-directional. But we're going to let this run a little bit more and let you finish checking it out. Now, as you saw while I was engraving, it had no issues. Same with cutting. It's just some 1/4 inch wood. I normally use 1/8 inch on my patches, but it's something I like to do, just something different to offer to some of my customers, where I'll make wooden patches instead of doing the leather or your embroidery, just something different. And like I said, it got nice deep penetration on there. Like I said, it cut it out, no issue. Like there's a little bit of burn marks on the back, but nothing I want to complain about. Like I said, and that's one of those, we will play a little bit more with the air. Like I said, when I crank that air up on there, man, it is really pushing some pressure out of that nozzle. And it even has a red line on there to show you when you are doing too much. And here in a little bit, we'll test that out. So this next project, we're going to keep this at the 48 watts of power just to see how much detail we can get with this. And then we'll drop it down to that 24 watts to see how much it increases the detail we can get. So I'm going to run the same image twice on here so y'all can check it out, see what y'all think looks best and how well this 48 watt compared to the 24 watt looks overall between the two images. So we got our first one all engraved out. I want to write 48 on the back of this. That way we know I don't get them mixed up on which one's which. So we got that first one done. That right there took approximately 17 minutes to run. I'm going to run it. We'll swap it over to the 24 and run it again and be right back with y'all. Also, why this is doing this, I'm actually not changing the speed or the power of this. So I'm still going to run that same. Right now we have it 330 millimeters per second and 80% power. And like I said, it is set to change power rating due to shading on there, because like I said, this what I have on there is a JPEG image, so it can recognize when it needs to engrave and when it doesn't need to. And I do have to say, already there is a noticeable difference on here right off the bat. Granted, I'm just barely into this image and I can't already see, but we'll let it do its thing and I'll be right back. Okay, as we got this done with the 24 watt, there is a noticeable difference between the two. So we have the 48 watt and then we got the 24 watt. Now, whichever one you like, that's up to you. Like I said, this one actually has a little bit more of a 3D effect to it, due to the fact how deep it carved into there. Where this, it has a little bit of one, but it's more just light engraving on there. We did lose some of the detail on both of them. It's me not having my settings exactly toned right, but the detail is there. It might not all show up on camera, but as you see, totally different results between the 48 watt and the 24 watts on the laser. Either one of these, like I said, I'm happy with the outcome. I do wish I probably turned the speed down on this to maybe 70. And I think it would have a real nice effect to it instead of running it at that 80. But there we go. Now, as we have this doing its autofocus right now, the next thing I'm going to do is see how, well, not really see how deep it can cut and penetrate. I already know it will probably do that. People are like, Jeff, why don't you throw a 2x4 on there, show us what it can do. I'm not going to do that. I've cut a 2x4 once before on the laser. There is no need to cut 2x4s on these. They are not designed and built to do that. Could this do that? More likely it'd have no issue doing that. Am I going to do that? No. Like I said, there is no need to put extra wear and tear on this machine. Now, saying that, I do have a piece of 1/2-inch wood, which is real common for making wood signs, which is something I cut all the time with. Now, that's something I will show you on as far as cutting, how well it does and how quick and easy and nice everything turns out. Now on this, I ended up running this file twice, as you see. And the first one didn't cut all the way through. Second one did take 2 passes. And it didn't, like I said, as far as that, it didn't burn all the way through at any point on there. Now, could I slow this down a little bit more? Yes, but I didn't want to worry about a flame up, because you saw at the very beginning, it was trying to throw flames. If I would have had that even slower, it probably would have set off the alarm on here, causing it to shut down and us have to fully restart over. So that is something to think of when you are cutting thicker woods. Is generally, I like to do lower speed. I generally like to do a higher speed and higher power and multiple passes. That way it's just slowly cutting down, and instead of just trying to slow speed, high power that thing the whole time, because it's going to cause flare-ups, it's going to cause a lot more burn marks, and it's just not going to look as clean, and it's going to be a lot more cleanup on your end whenever you go to have to start sanding down them edges for paint and primer. Now with this Ikier K1 Pro Max, like I said, this machine right here is a straight up beast. I mean, you're talking 48 watts, and they do have some that are even more powerful than this. They do make a 70 watt version of this, which I'd love to get my hands on just to see it. But for the most part, once I start getting that big of power, I have other machines out there. Now, Diode, like I said, as far as speed, this thing is quick and does great work. I mean, we're talking little patches. It knocked it out like it was nothing. And having the enclosure on here, that which we can vent out of the shop, is a big plus. Anytime you can vent your area on these open gantries, it makes it a lot better for your health and the overall longevity of everything else in your shop. So you're not throwing smoke out and it's getting covered with whatever the machine is burning out and putting into the air. Also with this machine, it can be all touch screen. You don't have to have a computer to run this machine. So you can load up your files on a USB stick, come over here, touch it, say run, and you're good to go. That way you're not having to have multiple computers, or especially multiple computers with light burn on them. Because like I said, that's what I like to use. So I wouldn't want to have a whole bunch of computers throughout the shop just for light burn. Load up on a USB stick, use that touch screen right there, and makes it so simple. Like I said, the way these screens are on this Ikier, like I said, you might be thinking, that looks a lot like the Atomstack. Well, they are partnered together. So that is something to think about. Like I said, and all my Atomstack machines, I love them. Both of them machines, great. I can run them any day, all day long, no issues. And I know this machine right here is just a more beefier, powerful version of that. Like I said, the software on this is extremely easy to use. And if you don't want to just use a touchscreen, always have light burn to fall back onto. Now, auto focusing on this machine. I've been playing with it, and I'm growing to like it. Now, the only thing I don't like is I have another block. Granted, it's set on whatever to help autofocus it, but it's another block to keep up with. Granted, this one actually is a bigger size, but they need to make something where it can at least sit somewhere on the machine where it's not just loosely sitting wherever to get lost. I'll be so glad when we're away from blocks on setting up any sort of lasers. But that is my only real complaint with this. I know I really didn't get into it earlier, but on these this honeycomb tray that they have on here, it also has these little deals in this. So you can actually, it has a track. Let me show you real quick. So we have tracks to put this in, and we'll take that wing nut off, put this on there to help hold stuff into place while you're doing engraving on there to give you a more stable surface. Like I said, especially if you have your air pressure up by mistake and all of a sudden that catches that wood just right, or acrylic, it can sit there and flutter, causing you to get a bad cut or engrave, and these can actually help hold down that piece. Is there something you're wanting to see me make with this laser, build with this laser, or any other lasers in general? I need you to comment below. And if you like what we are doing here at Jeff Does What, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It definitely helps me out. Like I said, here a few videos back, we hit 10,000 subscribers. Thank you to everyone that has subscribed to this channel, liked, shared this around. It really helps us out. I appreciate everything y'all do for me and this channel. Thank y'all so much. Also, there's a link down below where you can purchase this machine. Now, it's not an affiliate link. I don't make money off of this link, but if you want this machine, you can buy it down below. Just something to think about. And until next time, y'all take it easy.